So today I'm going to try and demonstrate how to make this rope basket. This is a small rope basket, but I'm going to attempt to do it left-handed. So let's see if this works. So I have cotton medium weight yarn. I have a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, one stitch marker, and I have some clothesline rope that I'm going to use. So the first thing the directions say is to chain 4 and join to form a ring. Well, chain 4 for me is a little too small, so what I did is I chained 5. And I'm going to insert my hook in that very first chain. I'm doing it from the back to the front. And I'm going to close up that ring with a slip stitch. Okay. And I just took it apart. Fun times. Doing it left-handed is quite a treat because I'm a right-hander. All right, let's try this one more time. I think I put that on backwards. Tops of my, there they are. The tops of my chains are flat. I'm going to insert, I'm turning it over and inserting my hook from the back to the front. I'm going to grab my working yarn and pull through the 2 loops that are on my hook, hopefully. Okay. All right, so there, we're going to work in the middle of that ring. Now, don't try and do a magic ring with this basket because round 1, we're going to put 14 single crochets in here. And round 2, we're going to put 14 more single crochets over our first single crochets of round 1. So you can't use a magic ring with this. So you're going to chain 1. And like I said, you're going to put 14 single crochets into the middle of this ring. So I will do a couple, hopefully. Here is 1. Now I'm going to take my stitch marker, put it underneath the top 2 loops of that first stitch. It's just there to say, this is my first stitch. This is where I started. And now I'm going to do 13 more into the center of that ring. So I'll continue working around. I'll meet you back when I have my 14 single crochets. So now I have my 14 single crochets. I'm back at my stitch marker. I'm going to remove my stitch marker. I'm going to slip stitch to that very first single crochet. And that is round 1. So round 2, I'm actually going to chain 1 before I start round 2. And it says, insert hook in the center of ring to work over single crochet of last round. And you want 14 single crochets in your ring. So you're going to insert your hook right into the middle of that circle again. And do 14 single crochets. So here's my first one. I'm going to insert my stitch marker on underneath those top 2 loops of my first single crochet. It gives me an indication of where I started. And now I'm going to do 13 more right over round 1. I'll do one more. You're just going in, you're grabbing your yarn, you're pulling it up, you yarn over, and you pull through 2 loops. So you're crocheting right over your first round. So I will meet you back when I get to my stitch marker. So I'm running out of a room. I'm coming up on my stitch marker, and I still have, I think, 2 more stitches to do. 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 1 more stitch. And if you find that you're running out of room, you can grab hold of your ring and push back on those single crochets. They will move. You use a little muscle, they'll move to give you your room. So I have 1 more single crochet to do. And you want to keep these last couple stitches are a little bit loose. You don't want them too loose. You want the tension on those single crochets a little tighter. Not too tight that you can't work in them, but not as loose as mine look. Those last couple ones are really quite big. But anyway, that is round 2, and so it says that you need to slip stitch to your first stitch. So remove your stitch marker, insert your hook underneath the top 2 loops of that first single crochet, and join your round. So that's the first 2 rounds of the basket. This is the bottom of the basket. Now for round 3, we're going to place our cording above the stitches of the last round, having the cut end about 1.5. I do about 1 inch in. Now I put a piece of tape over the end of my rope because it was fraying. Eventually that will be cut off. The other thing you could do is you could cut this tail underneath, which was getting in my way as I was trying to do my single crochets. Cut my tail. Okay, and now being a lefty, it's going to be to your left. And you're going to work over the cord with a yarn under single crochet. So in the very first stitch as you're joining, so the first thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to put my hook in that stitch. I'm going to place my yarn above. Let's see if I'm doing this right. We want a yarn under. So my yarn is coming under my hook. This should be fun, and you're going to draw it through the top 2 loops of that join. So it's a yarn under, okay? And that secures it onto the rope. I'm going to finish my single crochet with a yarn over and go through 2 loops. I thought I did it, and I lost it. Bear with me. I'm kind of pulling my hook up too to open up those loops. So we want to put 2 single crochets in the same stitch as the joining. So insert my hook again in that same stitch underneath the rope, yarn under to grab it. Not sure I'm doing my yarn under correctly. I'll have to review that. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. So there's my first 2 stitches. I'm actually going to put my stitch marker underneath the top 2 loops of that very first single crochet. And we will need this stitch marker from here on out. Then you're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around but do not join them when you get back to your stitch marker. You're going to end up with 28 single crochets. So we are increasing on this round, and we are also working with the cording. So insert your hook under the top 2 loops of the next stitch, yarn under. Here's my yarn under, and complete your single crochet there. I'm going to do it again. Insert your hook into that very same stitch. I'm going to yarn under. How did I just do that? Yarn under, pull through, yarn over, go through 2 loops. Still not sure I'm doing this right. Let's do it again. Insert my hook in the next single crochet. It was this way, over my hook and then under my hook, if that makes sense. It's a yarn under, pull through, yarn over, go through 2 loops. That's right. It creates like an X in the single crochet when you yarn under. Insert your hook. You're going to go over the top of it and then grab the yarn. Hope that makes sense. That's your yarn under. I'll do it again. The next single crochet. So I am going to hold it. Just got a little tripped up here. Over my hook, under my hook, pull through, yarn under, and then yarn over and finish your single crochet. So it twists the front of the single crochet. Do you see? I hope you can see that there. I'm going to go back in, yarn under, goes over my hook. I apologize for all this fiddling. And I grab it and pull it up, yarn over, go through 2. So I have 2 stitches there. To the next one, insert my hook. It goes over and then I catch it under, yarn over and go through 2 loops. I'll do it one more time. Insert back into the same stitch. So I'm going over my hook and then I let the yarn catch in the hook. It twists the yarn, pull through. So it twists that yarn. You could probably see it better on the on these rows, how that yarn under twists the stitch. Looks like a cross stitch is what it looks like. Hopefully you can see that. That's what you're aiming for. That's the yarn under. So I'm going to continue around, get my 28 single crochets, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of the round. So I have completed my 28 single crochets. It's 2 single crochets in every stitch around. And now we are going to go, I have pushed my the beginning of my rope behind my work, and now we're going to continue on in the spiral with round 4. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to chain 2. So this chain 2 is the beginning of your round. So I'm going to move my stitch marker from the row below. I'm going to put it around my chain 2. This indicates this is the beginning of round 4. Okay, so did my chain 2, and now we are going to skip the first stitch and single crochet in the next stitch. So I think that was my chain 1 from the row below. I'm going to skip that first, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to skip this, that was my chain. I'm going to skip this stitch. I'm going to work into that next stitch. Insert your hook under the top 2 loops of that next stitch. Mine are quite tight. I was kind of pulling on my yarn a little bit too much. I mean, you want them tight, your stitches tight, but you don't want them like I have it now. I can't even get my hook on there. Hold on. Better. Okay. So your rope's gonna continue to lay on top of your work. You're gonna yarn under and pull it through. Maybe I won't be pulling it through because it's still so tight. I can do this. I'm gonna open it up a little bit. I really made that stitch tight, didn't I? Nope. Okay. Skipping the first, going to the second, insert, yarn under, pull through. Okay. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. Good. There's my first one. Okay. So I am doing, skip the first stitch, single in the next, place the marker in the chain 2 space, which we did. We will move the marker up as our work progresses. And now we're going to chain 2 again. Okay, and you're going to skip the next stitch and single in the next, and you're going to do that all the way around. So this guy's occupied. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to work in the next. Let's see if this goes any easier. Skip, go to the next. Yes, quite tight, aren't they? Okay. Yarn under, grab my work, yarn over, go through the 2 loops. I don't think I'm doing my yarn unders correctly because they aren't twisting. Let me try that again. Insert my hook this way. So my yarn is to the left of my hook, and then I grab it and I pull it through. I yarn over and go through 2 loops. So much better. That one's not twisted. This one is twisted. Okay, chain 2. And so we're going to continue this all the way around. I'll do one more. Chain 2, skip 1, go in the next one, yarn under and grab your work, your yarn. Bear with me, I apologize. Under the top 2 loops, yarn under, pull through, yarn over, go through the 2 loops. So much better. So that stitch is twisted. Chain 2, skip 1, go to the next stitch, should be here. Yarn under, pull through. Skip one, go to the next, yarn under, pull it through, yarn over, go through 2 loops. And there we go. So I'm going to continue around. I'll meet you back at my stitch marker. Okay, here I am at the end of round 4. So it says I should have 14 single crochet and 14 chain 2 spaces. So starting here, this is the beginning, here are my chain 2 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And 14 singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ooh, that one I didn't twist. It's okay. It's the bottom of the basket. It's fine. Okay, so round 5, you're going to chain 2. Okay. You're going to skip the next stitch. So, and you're going to single, chain 2, single in the next marked, that's this one, chain 2 space, right? So I'm going to remove my stitch marker. I'm going to single crochet, yarn under, and then yarn over, chain 2, 1, 2, and go back in the same space, yarn under, yarn over. Okay, so it doesn't look pretty, but here it is. So it's a single, chain 2, single. That's an increase right here. And we're going to put our stitch marker, I'm going to put it into the chain 2 space. This is where we're starting. So that's our increase to start. And then it says chain 2. So 1, 2, and skip the next stitch. That's this one. And single crochet in the chain 2 space. So in that next chain 2 space, I'm going to create my yarn under single crochet. Okay. Then I'm going to chain 2, skip the next stitch, so now I'm going to do another increase. So I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and it says single, skip the next stitch, that's this one, single, chain 2, single in the next chain 2 space. So here, yarn under, yarn under, chain 2, go back into the same stitch because we're doing an increase here, yarn under, okay, so I did an increase, then I did one single, and then I did another increase. Okay, and now I'm going to chain 2, and I am going to skip the next stitch and single in the next chain 2 space. Go under, do a yarn under, okay, and probably have to do a chain 2 again. So we're gonna, this is our formula all the way around. It'll be an increase, in the first chain 2 space, then it'll be only 1 single crochet in the next chain 2 space, increase in the next chain 2 space, single in the next chain 2 space. I'm going to do that all the way around. So where I'm at, this next one is going to be my increase, single, chain 2, single, and then only 1 single. So I'm going to first, and don't forget those chain 2s. You're going to be throughout your whole basket. You're always going to be using those chain 2. So here I'm going to put an increase. So I'm going to go in, yarn under, finish my single crochet, chain 2. Okay, this is an increase. Go back in the same spot, yarn under, finish your single crochet. Okay, chain 2. Always use, don't forget those chain 2s. I'm going to do that all the way around. 1 single in the next. And you're always crocheting over your rope. Now, you don't want your stitches too loose. You don't want them too tight, and do not pull on your rope. Don't pull on it. Just let it go naturally. Because when we stop increasing, I think we stop increasing at row 7. Then it will start cupping into a bowl. But don't pull on your rope. Don't make your stitches too loose. Oh, look, I didn't do that single crochet is incorrect. It's not yarn under. Let me do that again. Insert, yarn under, pull through. You want that twisted, and that's what holds the rope to it. So you want to keep a moderate tension on your work. So I'll continue around. At the end of this round, we're going to have 21 single crochets and 21 chain 2 spaces. I think I will meet you back in part 2 of this video. This will be enough to get you started, and then I'll come back and do the remaining rounds, or at least rounds 6 through 10, and then I'll do another video on round 11, which are the handles and finishing off.